Hello, hello, hello.
Recording in progress.
So, why business is so hard for most people. So, I was one of the things that I'm always doing is I'm growing my bookkeeping and accounting businesses. I'm taking inventory as to like why was my business so successful where 90% of people that start a business end up going out of business. And those statistics are a little bit skewed, right? Because they talk about like 90% of people go out of business. Usually for professional services business, like let's say like legal, accounting, therapists, whether that's massage therapists, whether that's physical therapists, whether that is a mental health therapist. Usually, the percentage of people that actually start a business and succeed is very high. Usually, the 90% is like when someone's starting a restaurant or like they're buying like a Walmart or starting a Walmart building. It's like a really big brick and mortar business that takes a lot of inventory, a lot of supply, and a lot of capital to get started. So we're not necessarily talking about businesses like that, okay? But I'm always kind of thinking about like what can we do to kind of increase people's success rate? How can we move people forward faster? And like what does that look like, right? Because inside of our mentorship program, we're always like trying to get our students results faster and larger results. But really, it comes down to a few different factors that cause most people to really struggle when it comes to business. So number one, you have to really be building skill sets. Building skill sets. So most people, what happens is when we are, either doing our corporate career, when we are, just thinking in general, we oftentimes think in terms of whatever pay schedule we've been on in our life. So let's say that you get paid weekly. Most people can only put in enough skills until they don't get paid the first week, or the second week, or the third week. Then they start freaking out. If you're used to getting paid once every 15 days or so, as soon as you have like 2 or 3 different pay periods in your mind where you're not seeing results, a lot of people get frustrated, scared, and very fearful. Right? So that's actually why like a lot of people, like if they have a background in like a commission kind of job, like like sales or a restaurant or different things like that, where they have to go and like basically they eat what they kill or eat what they hunt, right? They tend to do a lot better at business because they're just used to not having that consistency. But for people like us, where maybe we had a very consistent paycheck when we're at our job, or if you left your job when you were at your job, right? And that consistency causes us to think in terms of the wrong things, right? Because it's usually like if we put in a little bit of effort or if we do our job, we get paid. In business, it's not like that in a lot of cases. In business, if you don't have the right skill but you do the job, you're still not going to get paid, right? You can be an amazing accountant, amazing bookkeeper. You know how to save people $1 million in taxes, but no one ends up working with you. So it's like you end up not really being rewarded for and compensated for the work you've put in. So the first skill set we should have is sales, right? And we'll talk about this in a minute, but most people are trying to learn marketing before they learn sales. And what it ends up leading to is that they get a number of consultation calls on the phone, but the consultation calls never sign up with them. Or the consultation comes, but the consultation person or potential client is not really in a position to buy from them. And we'll say a bookkeeper or accountant has no idea that this person was never really going to be able to buy or ready to buy in the first place. That is a factor of learning sales. Now, I don't mean like being a used car salesperson where it's like, you have to like, sell something that nobody wants at a price that is too high and you're ripping people off. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have to be able to learn how to communicate your value the correct way, handle objections before they come up and after they come up, and then make sure you understand how to give a really, really good presentation. So, first things first, get a script. Okay, so scripts. So I've heard some people say this was a long time ago I heard people say, they don't really say it as much anymore. They say I don't want to use a script because I want to sound natural when I'm speaking. Okay, no worries. Usually with a script is not meant for you to be like word by word by word. Any script that said like that forces you to say the exact same words every single time is very challenging because a conversation can flow. It can go here, it can go there, it can go this, it can go this. Instead, you need to have focus points that you're hitting within your script. So it's really about the questions you're asking. It's about what are the main stages and focus points that you're going and taking the person through. And that's going to lead to you having a very consistent like call, so you get like a very consistent percentage of people signing up with you. But it doesn't feel like you're trapped and confined to this like fake scripted conversation that you have no control over. So that's number one. Okay, if you have a script, it makes things so easy. I basically use the same script for almost all of my consultation calls. I've done 3,000 consultation calls. I use pretty much there. I've used about 4 main scripts, and it's like every like 2 or 3 years I might like tweak the script as I learn something new, or as like I just want to kind of like add something in or make my call easier, right? But it's like once you have a really simple script, it doesn't have to be the best script in the world, but a really good script and it's very solid. Okay, well just baseline and just use that same thing every time. Or if you don't want to use it word for word, have it open on your computer screen so you can kind of glance at it and know exactly where you're going. Okay, now that's number 1. Number 2, second, you want to practice. Okay, so practice makes consistent. Doesn't make perfect, right? Because you're practicing the wrong way. Well, now you're going to be consistently wrong, right? So people used to say, like, practice makes perfect. If you're doing bad habits, or if you don't have a good script, or if you just, like, don't know what you're looking for, yeah, it's really, really tough for you to do that, right? That's why inside of our program, we teach you how to practice your sales consultations. So when I would practice 3 times per day with your script in front of a camera. So I literally used to take out my little handheld digital camera. Sometimes I would hold it in my hand, sometimes I'd put it like on a little tripod, and I would literally speak into it as if that was the other person. And I would ask it all the questions I was supposed to ask, all the things I was supposed to say, and I would literally do that 3 times. I'd do it like, for me, I would do it 3 times in a row. If you don't have the time to do it 3 times in a row in the morning, just do it throughout your day. So do it once, like, as you're getting ready for work. Do it once on your lunch break. Or what you can do is you can record yourself doing it and record yourself asking the questions and going through the presentation. And while you're on your drive home, just listen to it in your earphones or play it on your phone. I used to do that a lot, right? But you have to practice. Another way you can practice is by finding another individual who also has an accounting or bookkeeping business and literally just practicing your script back and forth with them. So maybe you do your script once, they do their script once, you do the script, they do the script, blah, blah, blah. Back and forth, back and forth. I did this literally every morning for about 2 years when I was getting started. Every morning, without fail. That led to me doing so well, right? Very, 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 very simple because I just started getting good. The next thing you should start doing is learn to objection handle. So this is really important too because, like not every single person is going to want to say yes to you immediately. And that's completely normal, right? You're not going to get someone where it's like 100% of the time they'll be like, yeah, let's go. Like that does happen, don't get me wrong. But for most people, it's not going to be every single time that you hop on the phone. So you need to be able to handle like 80% of the time when you give a price to someone and they say something like, I don't have the time to do it. I want to do it myself. I don't have the budget for it. And you'll speak to my business partner, right? And just being able to know what to say next is so important, right? They say 80% of people you speak to on a consultation call is closable. When we say closable, that just means like they're able to be signed up. Now, most people, they have a sign-up rate of about 5 to 10%. That's the uninitiated, we call them, right? That's from I got that from Batman. He called them, the uninitiated, because you just don't know what you're doing. You've never been initiated into like understanding sales, objection handling, psychology. Why do people give objections? Like, do you even know why people give objections? If you don't know that, then it's like it's very hard for you to be able to handle objections, right? Because, for example, are they nervous about working with you? Okay. So if let's say it's nerves or fear, there's 2 main places. Is it because of something that they've done in the past, so that's like them external, or is it you? Like they just don't trust you. Okay, that's two different versions of fear right there. Next thing, let's say it's going to be like a timing objection, is because they don't think that they have the time to implement this stuff that you're talking about, or is it that internally they think that working with you is just going to take a lot of time because on your consultation call you kind of rambled, you gave them a bunch of random statistics that no one really understands or cares about, you're speaking gibberish to them, and now they're like, do I really have to talk to this person on a consistent basis? I couldn't even stand talking to this person for 15 minutes, so I have to speak to them for another, for an hour long at a time. That's one thing. Do they think that you are a person that just wastes time? There's a lot of people I've spoken to who have a very ineffective communication style where they literally will just talk. Like I was on the phone with this lady on this weekend. She was potentially thinking about working. She was thinking about doing our our mentorship program, and like talking to her. She was a nice lady. Don't get me wrong, but her speech pattern was very ineffective because. It wasn't that she was speaking slowly, it's just she would just go on random tangents, contradict herself a lot, and then give answers to questions that were not in a very linear fashion. Right? So right there I can say, okay, so in order for you to actually get clients, you have to fix those three things. Right? So that's what we've been working on throughout our coaching program. I told her, like it wasn't me, I was just like, hey, when we started working, I was like, hey, we're going to have to fix your language patterns, man, because, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but that was a terrible call. If I was a potential client, I probably would have, like, escaped off the phone with you. It's just that I have, as a mentor, I have to be able to, like, help people. So I had to do the opposite of what most people do. I had to sit there and listen, and kind of help you organize your thoughts. But if I was a potential bookkeeping client and I was thinking about buying your bookkeeping services, I would have hung up the phone. I would have been gone. Like, literally gone. After about 15 minutes. Right? And that kind of moves into the next thing, learning communication. Like, you have to understand the principles of communication. Most people are not aware of how the words they say and like what they say to people actually make other people either feel, respond, or move. Right? So learning how to understand, if I say A, will this person do B, C, or D? Okay. And each person is slightly different. So if I say A to person, we'll say to person 1, they could do B. If I say A to person 2, they could do C. If I say A to person 3, they could do D. Right? So being able to immediately within the conversation, am I talking to a person 1, a person 2, a person 3? Okay, cool. That's immediate. Okay, so let's say I'm talking to person 2. I'll hold it 2 for just, simplicity. Person 2. I'm going to immediately speak in a language pattern of B, because I know that B is going to get them to do the correct thing that I need them to do. Okay? I also know that if I was to say a phrase that's slightly against their worldview, or that, could be mildly offensive to them, I'm not going to say that, right? Because they could be a type A personality where they, like, as soon as you say something they don't like, they want to fight and they're like going back and forth. They could be a type, a different type personality where it's like they won't tell you they've been offended, but you're not going to be able to understand why they don't end up working with you, right? They could be another type person where, like, they will act like they are really happy that you just said that thing, but really deep down they don't like it and they're never going to talk to you again. Right? So understanding who you're speaking with in order to make sure that you're communicating as effectively and as properly to that individual as possible so that they get the full understanding of your picture or what you're saying without necessarily getting offended, without feeling, unheard, without feeling disrespected. And you might think, well, that's just common sense. But if you're not actively thinking about it or you've never actively thought about it and you don't really get the things you want out of life, this is probably why. And I'm not trying to be mean. Like there are some people where like you've never thought about it, but people seem to be really nice to you. People seem to give you a lot of stuff and like go. Now, if you've had a really, really good life where like let's say that you're an attractive person and people are used to giving you favors and giving you different things, but when you try and start a business, no one wants to pay you money. Okay, that means that you've maybe skated by on like attractiveness in real life, but you're not very influential. You're not very persuasive, if that makes sense. So you need to start learning these tools of communication, right? Because if you can have the same favor you have with people who are attracted to you, right, or whatever, but you could actually turn that and be more in a professional setting for business owners that aren't attracted to you but still would want to work with you, you're going to be 10 times more powerful. I used to date this one lady, and she was an insurance salesperson, and it was funny because she was good at any person, and like she was like an insurance person. It's like she was like an attractive lady. All of her clients were like male, and like they all had like a crush on her, or they saw her like as like their little sister, right? And she knew that. Like, she knew that. She's like, yeah, this person likes me. That's why this person's going to sign up with me. And her trouble was that anytime a person was not attracted to them, she could not close a deal. Like, she had very, very few women clients. And she had very few, like, women friends in real life. Right? And it was all because she wasn't really influential or persuasive. She was just cute. So she had to learn how to be influential in order to kind of get to that next level. And she had a really good business. You'll get a really good business if you can just like run a business like that. But most of us, kind of want to run a business on our merit, right? Not just because people just like us. You know what I mean? So that's about communication. Cool. Next thing is going to be about mindset. So this is another really big reason. So I was talking to this one person in like my school group, and she asked for this resource. I gave her the resource, and then I asked her, hey, what were your thoughts on it? What would you like to see in the next one improve? And she said, oh, I kind of glanced at it. I think it's just a sales pitch. And I was like, huh. So how many sentences out of that 9-page Google document were about buying my stuff? She didn't really fully look at it, right? So I guess it's only two sentences. It's a trick question. But number one, you can't be lazy. Like, read full things. If you say that you want to do something, but you're not fully like researching, fully attacking, fully doing stuff, you're not going to be successful. This person's been inside my school group since September. Right now it's January as I record this video. September to January. It was like September, I think, beginning of September. October, November, December, January. That's 5 months. And she still has 0 clients. And the guide is on how to get clients. If you barely glanced over it, you're probably not serious about, your business. That's a mindset thing. And then it's easier to criticize other people than to go and attack what you have to do. So number one, it's do things all out. Just like I talk about the practice. That is actually an extension of your mindset, right? How bad do you want this stuff? There's a couple different things, right? Number one is going to be your intensity, right? So intensity is how aggressively are you going after something? Now, intensity, you don't need to be that intense, right? I would actually rather you be focused rather than intense, right? Because focus can be a sustained interest or observation of something over a long period of time. If I can be focused, I don't need to be intense, okay? But I have to always be consistently looking and thinking, right? Even if it's just we'll say 30 minutes a day. 5 out of 7 days per week. Dude, that's it. If you can do that for 6 months to a year, you're not going to be watching videos on why are we struggling with bookkeeping or accounting business growth. You won't need to. You'll be good. You'll be good. Just 30 minutes a day. That's all you need to do. Number one. Number two is going to be frequency. You can tell if someone's going to be successful just based on their frequency, right? I was talking to this person, and she was thinking about growing her business, but she literally is so number one, she said, I want to be rich. I was like, okay, well that's an interesting, goal. Okay, cool, no problem. And then she goes, I want to be greedy. Or no, she said, I'm not a greedy person. I was like, huh, that's interesting. Okay, so what does greedy mean to you? It's like, I don't really just want to like, have a bunch of money just like sitting around, just like stored up and blah, 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 blah. I was like, wait, but you said you want to be rich, but now you don't want to be greedy. And greedy to you is actually the definition of rich was earlier for you. So which one is it? And then later on she goes like, she said something else, but like those two things, that's like in direct opposition to one another. Because if you want to get rich, but at the same time you don't want to have a lot of money because you don't want to be seen as greedy, right? Which, greed isn't necessarily just how much money you have. There's a lot of different factors when it comes to greed. But they're actively working against each other. And then like people wonder like, why don't I have any money? Why don't I have any clients? Why don't I have this? Because you're probably actively doing stuff that is going to cause you not to succeed. And on top of that, okay, so let's think about this. Do you think that if you say the word greedy to a person that's doing $1 million to $5 million a year in top line revenue or even take home income, when you say the word greedy, they're going to like just be like, okay, cool, this is my person. This is the person I want to like work with. Probably not, because you're going to be operating at a different frequency. When people say like greedy, I don't like, outside of when I talk to someone for like a consultation call, I don't think of the word greedy. That's never even my like vocabulary. That's not even something that I think about. So if you're on a different frequency and you're not elevating your frequency and like your frequency outside of your current situation, your current place, you're not going to be able to get clients to actually like work with you. It's just a fact. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just like you have to kind of like that goes back to the communication skills that we talked about earlier, right? If I say, how will this make someone who is wealthy, or even if you want to say rich, how will that make this person feel? If you just said that having a lot of money makes someone greedy, you just called that other person who has $1 million in the bank greedy. That's an instantaneous turn off, and then at the end of the call, I'll be like, oh yeah, I don't necessarily know if it's gonna be a good fit. And you're like, oh, where did I go wrong? Maybe my price was too high. It's like, no, it's just, who you were presenting yourself as was not, in alignment with that, right? So if you want to start getting better quality clients, you have to start speaking different language. Like the other girl, the lady I was talking about, who said my article is a sales pitch. Like, number one, it's like, okay. So, and then she also said like, yeah, it was a sales pitch. I didn't read it very much because I know like you're not able to give stuff away for free if you're selling it. It's like, what? That's not the same frequency. Oftentimes, like, because most people that are successful know that you have to give stuff away for free in order for people to trust you enough to want to invest or want to buy or want to give you money or support you. Right? That's why you see people have like podcasts. That's why you see people like do this. This is why you see me do. I have like 1,500 free videos on YouTube. 1,500 free videos. So about you can't give stuff away for free because you're selling it. It's like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, bro, so the school group she was in, ironically, has 3 mini courses. The first mini course, how to use LinkedIn, 7 hours long for free. The second one is a sales course. It's 8 hours long for free. Kind of goes back to the mindset and the frequency, right? Mindset, you're being lazy. Like, all this stuff is there for free, waiting for you. But frequency, because the reason why she's not getting clients because she just comes across very, very, just, number one, lazy. Number two, she doesn't think in terms of giving value. She does not understand a fair value exchange, right? All successful people understand that, right? Because think about it. In order for you to be successful over a long period of time, and like I'll admit there are like exceptions to the rule. Like there was that guy that did like, what was it, Bernie Madoff, who did like that giant Ponzi scheme. Okay, I will admit, right? He was doing good for about 10, 15 years. Okay, but if you're gonna have a really long lasting career in a business that's more than 10 years, 15, 20 years, you cannot go around ripping people off. So that means that you have to be offering something of either equal or fair value, or else you're not going to have customers very long. People will start talking about your product negatively. You're not going to be able to get customers very long. So by the very nature, if you're going around accusing people of not giving good value for free, that is showing you literally do not understand business. And no bookkeeping client is going to want to work with someone who does not understand business. How can you give me advice? How can you really accurately track? How can you really keep tabs on my business if you don't understand business? The bare principles of business, which is give value and sell something at either equal to or less than the value of what you're giving. That's why it's so hard for most people to get good at business. If you want to get good at business, you got to build your soft skills, you got to build the hard skills, and you got to change your frequency and stay focused over a long period of time. If you can do that, you're going to grow. It's not about, using LinkedIn, using Facebook. It's not about any of that stuff. I've gotten clients at the grocery store. Standing in line at the grocery store, I've gotten clients for my bookkeeping business. It's not about where you go find them online. That's what I talk about. Everyone's like, what's the best marketing tool? That doesn't matter. You can have the best market in the world, but get 0 clients out of 10 because they just don't like you as a person. And it's not even about you personally. They don't like you. It's just the way we communicate it and the frequency is off. And again, that's not an insult to you. It's just be aware. If you're aware of it, you're going to make it. That's all it is, okay? So, hopefully you have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.